Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome to this episode of 49 Faithfully. We're your hosts, Miriah Lee and Teran Lewis. And today we're joined by a very special guest, the guy that everybody loves to hate, the myth, the man, the legend, Grant Cohn. Grant, I appreciate you giving us your time, coming on, talking football with us.
Miriah, you've been on my channel before. Thanks, both of you. Miriah, you've been on my channel before, and I just want to say, since that's been about a year, your whole setup has leveled up. You got the nice background, and what I want to say is you have a very professional, soothing NPR voice. I like it. It's really good. And I'm going to try to match it throughout the entire show today because sometimes but I think we're going to go NPR. Let's go NPR today. So I'm really excited to be here to talk football with both of you and to get to the bottom of what's going on with the 49ers and Deebo Samuel. Let's do this.
I appreciate you too, Grant.
Yeah.
Before we jump into any of that and all the 49ers stuff, this morning we woke up to some news about the passing of Dwayne Haskins, quarterback for the Steelers. And I just want to give our condolences out to his family, to, pretty much the whole football world, has been affected by this. He was such a young guy, to lose him to such a tragic, like getting out on the side of the freeway because something's wrong with your car and somebody hits you and takes your life.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's what happened.
That's
he got out. He got out of his car on the side of the freeway. Oh my god.
Correct. Yeah, he got out to check on his car, and as he got out, he got clipped by a dump truck or something like that. Yep.
Yeah. He was out in Florida working with
tragedy and a nightmare. Oh, that's awful.
Working with his teammates, working with, the other quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, getting ready for the season, that some people thought he might have a chance, to actually get out there and, compete and be a starter,
how people are traumatized for life, you know what I mean? The teammates, the dump truck driver, the people that were there. I mean, It's just a really awful story. And I don't know about you guys, but with this, when an athlete dies, of course we're all empathetic humans and your heart goes out to them, but I've never met Dwayne Haskins. It kind of makes you think about the people in your life. And my mom just died a couple of months ago. So I'm, just brings death right to the forefront of your mind. You're thinking about people you've lost and how tenuous life is. And it really ruins your day, right? It's a very heavy thing and it hangs over everything. And it's not just Dwayne Haskins. It's just death is on your mind the whole day, right?
Absolutely.
And it's it's around the corner. It's right here in our living room all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's scary. Yeah,
that's something crazy to wake up to, that's the very first thing I saw. I logged into Twitter and seen spaces, RIP Dwayne Haskins. I'm like, what the hell's going on? It's crazy.
Yeah, that was all bad. And I want to say something too. And Adam Schefter, the way he tweeted it originally was a bit out of pocket. But I at least respect the fact that he deleted it. He deleted it and and reworded it. But I just hope that he mans up and makes an apology to his family, just to say, hey, I went about it the wrong way. I shouldn't have tweeted it like that, whatever the case may be. But you're right, Grant. And I had tweeted shortly after that. It's man, I know as an athlete is more worldwide known or whatever the case may be. When it's your family, stuff like that, it makes you brings back to the back of your memory, man, life is really short. And I had tweeted man, the way that people be, they disrespect each other on Twitter over opinions and stuff like that. We really need to be better as human beings, treating each other with respect,
That's true. Absolutely. It's extremely short. Yeah. Yep. I agree.
It sucks. So let's move on to something more in a better mood. We found out this week that Frank Gore is going to retire. Frank Gore is the reason, Frank Gore's football to me. When I think about, starting to watch football and everything, that's when I got into football, started really watching football. This is my Frank Gore jersey, first jersey I ever bought, so crazy, how it was made back then, But yeah, so he's going to sign a 1 day with the 49ers and retire a 49er, which I think is awesome. There's been a lot of talk this week about, him going into the Hall of Fame and whether he should be in the Hall of Fame, about his jersey being retired. I know, you touched on this already, Grant, but, just to get your guys' feelings on that. I know Vish put out there that he didn't think he should be put into the Hall of Fame, and everybody wanted to cancel him over his opinion, which is pretty crazy.
Call the police right now.
Man, people were going nuts, making up other tweets that, saying he tweeted all this other shit. It was crazy. So congrats to Frank, the GOAT. What do you guys think about, the Hall of Fame status? Me personally, I think he will get in. I don't know about first ballot, but, I could care less. First ballot, second ballot, 10th ballot, you're getting into the Hall of Fame. And I'm with the people that say, we can't retire every jersey because, what jerseys are we going to have for the players to wear at the end of the day? But I do think with the impact that Frank meant to this team and, his closeness still with the team, I do think that his jersey ends up getting retired. Do you guys' thoughts?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go. So first and foremost, I'll say this. If Curtis Martin is a Hall of Famer, then so is Frank Gore. That's all I'm saying. I feel like as a career, Frank Gore has accomplished more than Curtis Martin has. So, and I get people saying that, there was never one time where he's considered the best back and this and that. But, you can't knock his numbers. He's third all time in rushing yards. You can't take that away from him. No, and the longevity he has is just amazing. For a man who tore both ACLs, and I ain't gonna lie, back what was he? He was drafted 2005, right? When he came in, when he was drafted, I was disappointed we drafted him. Honestly, I was just like, this man torn 2 ACLs, and I always said, if I were to meet Frank Gore, I would shake that man's hand and apologize to him for doubting him. Yeah. Because when we were drafting running backs, I wanted Marion Barber, who got drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. I thought he was great in Minnesota. So as far as Frank Gore retiring his number, it's tough, but I do agree that I think he's a staple. He's been a model citizen. I feel like a lot of people growing up, around that era where he came in to model their game after Frank Gore. He was one of the 49er favorites. So I do agree that his jersey should be retired. And I agree, you can't retire everybody's jersey, but number 21 to me is a special number that it should be retired. So yeah, I'm glad that he's going to sign a one-day retire, and I hope he makes it to this front office one day for sure.
I think they essentially already have retired his jersey. No one's worn it since he's been gone. And I think they gave it to someone by accident. I forget who it was.
Michael James, wasn't it?
No.
He was 23. He was 23.
He was 21 at
Oregon. I think you're right.
They gave it to someone else when Kyle Shanahan was here. And the guy took a picture of it. Hey, I'm here. And I don't know who it was, but Niner fans flipped out. 21? No. And they made him change his jersey that day. So, look, I think they should retire his jersey. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. Third most rushing yards of all time. That's all you got to say. But I think there's a reason that Niner fans love him so much, and that people don't really, maybe people like Vish wouldn't understand, or people who aren't from here or didn't grow up around it. But Gore is different than other football players. Gore is a straight up throwback to the 1950s. He played for the love of the game more than anyone. He never ever talked about money. He never complained about anything. He never held out. He would have played for the 49ers forever. He never wanted to leave the team. He'd be playing for him right now if they let him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For Patrick Willis, and he was a lifelong 49er. Patrick Willis was too, but Patrick Willis retired. I think there's just the warrior mentality of Gore, that he would probably play the game until he was 50 years old, is so endearing. And it's just rare. And there aren't players like that anymore. And I think that's why Niner fans love him as much as they love Jerry Rice. Don't they?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
They do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. There is something special about Frank Gore. It doesn't matter that he was never the best running back in the league. Doesn't matter. He was so loyal to the 49ers, more than anyone since Jerry Rice, you could say. All about the team, after the Terrell Owens years. And Terrell Owens was a great player, but he kind of changed the culture of the team for a minute. It was about T.O. For Frank Gore, it was all about he had a faithful relationship to the team like it was, again, 1965, I thought, which is crazy.
Yeah, and even, all this time that he's been playing for other teams and stuff, he'd always still show his love, to the 49ers, to the faithful. It's always been about the 49ers with him, regardless what jersey he had on, Yeah. I have some things, I want to ask you about, outside of 49ers. But before we jump into that, Deebo has been, in the news this week.
What an interesting segue from Frank Gore.
Yeah.
To Deebo. Two very different guys. Yeah.
Yep. he I guess the new term is scrubbed his Instagram. I don't know. I don't even have
Is
Instagram.
That what the kids say? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that means you cleaned it. You know, like you scrubbed it.
Yeah.
Like they need to get cleaning some other stuff besides Instagram. But yeah, so he took out all his pictures with the 49ers, his, anything that had to do with the 49ers, took it off, right? He's in, I guess, contract talks. He, who knows? But he's been tweeting after every wide receiver, that's gotten signed this offseason. He tweets something about it, and Deebo, just to me, like, you can tell, like, he's all about the money. He's name brand everything, like he wants to show off. He wants to, just, like that's the way he is, So I've always felt, when it came, like, and we talked about this last week, that TL was, talking about like his loyalty to the 49ers. And I feel that he doesn't have loyalty to 49ers. I think that whoever gives him the biggest bag, that's where he'll go. I don't think he's going to take a discount to stay with this team. And he has ties now to the Jets, to the Dolphins, to other teams that have more money than the 49ers. I agree. Because at this point, Jimmy G's, still on the team collecting, up Deebo's money, but that's Deebo's guy. So what can you do? So your thoughts on the whole Deebo situation? Do you think he gets traded? Do you think he stays? Do you care either way? Personally, everybody knows I'm an Ayuk fan through and through. That's my guy. I think he's going to do great with Trey Lance. And I think Deebo was more, obviously of a Jimmy guy. I think, Deebo's a great wide receiver and can be great with any quarterback, but I think I'm just expecting Ayuk to have a bigger year than Deebo. So to me personally, if we can get back, a haul of picks or, some other players that we need or whatever, I'm not against, trading him, because I just think that the money that he's going to be asking for is outrageous, and we can't be paying the top money to all these freaking players on our team, So to me, of course I love Deebo. I want him to stay, but at the end of the day, I don't think we should destroy the team to keep one player.
Well, it's interesting. When a player takes the pictures down on Instagram and does what Deebo's doing, like, fans don't like it. Fans understand that it's a business, but at the same time, they like the whole fantasy that they're a team and they're a family, and they actually they value that. And I think what Deebo is showing right now is he doesn't. Like Nick Bosa, we don't know how he feels, but he's not doing any of this kind of stuff. And Kittle never did this. So I think it's kind of rough, and I feel like he's losing a little bit of like the public support. A lot of fans like you guys are like, hey, 2 firsts? Hey, let's talk. Hold on. Wait a second. And I can understand that, because trading Buckner, you didn't get 2 firsts for Buckner. That was one of my big issues with the Buckner trade. Is like, wait, all you got was the 13th pick. He was the 7th pick, and he got better, and he's 25. Like, that's all you could get for Buckner. For Deebo, like, he was a 2nd-round pick, and you could trade him for a first, maybe 2 firsts. Well, you guys, you could be proud of that and say you got more, but I don't know. Like, what are you going to spend that on? Like, more offensive line, more defensive line? I think what we're seeing is that big playmaker who you can get the ball out too quick and he can just run. I think that's more valuable than maybe anything else besides a quarterback. Like, look what Jamar Chase did for the Bengals. They were terrible. Then they got Chase, and all of a sudden, even though Burrow was getting sacked 9 times a game, they went to the Super Bowl. So I don't know about trading Deebo, even for 2 first-round picks. I feel like he's really important. But as you said, Miriah, he's not going to take a discount with this team. And I'm not sure that Parag Marathe is built to spend $30 million a year on a wide receiver. I think he might be philosophically opposed to that. So I really wouldn't be surprised if this is Buckner 2.0. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. You guys make some excellent points. So here's my issue with the situation. And you're right, Grant. It's funny, too. And we had talked about this before we started. Like, the hypocrisy of the fans, to me, is comical. You sit here when Kyler Murray did it. He's childish. He's a baby. The Cardinals need to get rid of him for him acting like that. But with Deebo, it's, he's just trolling.
And the Cardinals are in shambles.
Yeah, Cardinals are, exactly.
Forget them.
Yeah, Cardinals are in shambles, and forget Kyler Murray. He needs to go back to baseball. This isn't that. Deebo Samuel does it. It's, you guys are overthinking it. he's not. It could not be about football. Like we need to be real, regardless of the situation.
Not about football, but you removed all football stuff.
Yeah, not all football. Yeah, and not football related, but he would what they said something over 80 pictures or something like that.
Deebo's justified. This is how you do business in 2022.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. Pay Deebo his money. When Kyler did it, freaking diva. But when Deebo does it, it's like, hey, wait a second. Let's look at it from Deebo. And we don't know what's going on. And they're probably going to just, it's all going to work out. So there's really no, how many credentialed journalists were like, no story, it's going to work out. You don't know. Call someone, use your sources. Tell me what's going to happen. Don't guess.
No, you're right. And I think I'm a little reluctant to trading away draft picks is because 49ers have kind of been hit and miss on first rounders. So it's like, what are you going to get? I mean, the DeForest Buckner, Javon Kinlaw thing is still up in the air. We don't know what we're getting out of Kinlaw. So now it looks like a bad trade. So I understand where people are kind of like, oh, I don't know, we should just keep Deebo. He's proven we drafted him, we groomed him. I get it. He made this offense go this year, so I get it. But the thing is, people forgetting, he was force-fed the ball. That's why his numbers were a little bit inflated. Not taking nothing away from Deebo. He still makes the play happen when he gets the ball. But with Jimmy, we had to force-feed this man to help us win games. With Trey, I don't see us doing that. With Trey, I think the ball's going to be spread around more. You's going to get the ball. Kittle's getting the ball. I feel like Ross Dwelly's going to get the ball. Kyle Juszczyk is going to be because Trey will attack every area of the field. Yes. So I think they're looking at it as like, oh, we don't really need Deebo as much because now we have a quarterback who can make every throw. You know what I'm saying? So people need to get – go ahead. Do you want to say something real quick, Grant?
Well, I want to ask you guys a question. Let's say the Jets offered the 49ers the 10th pick in the draft and the 38th pick in the draft for starters. What would you trade that for Deebo?
That I would say no.
Okay.
Only because, like I said, I just don't know what they're going to do with that 10th pick.
Okay, fair enough.
Knowing the 49ers, knowing the 49ers, they probably take 10 and draft. I mean, they'd probably trade back to maybe 14, 15 to get some more picks. That's probably what the Niners would do because that's what they're known for. But, and I'm with you guys both. I love Deebo. I want him to stay. I am no way in saying that he needs to be traded and let go. I want him on this team. He is the best offensive weapon on this team. However, I don't see how you can pay a wide receiver $30 million a year. You know what I'm saying? That's just way too much money for one player. And two, here's what I'll say. People are sitting there, give that man a blank check, let him get what he wants. Look at Devontae Adams, look at Tyreek Hill, look at Stephon Diggs. Well, the difference between them three and Deebo is them three have been doing it consistently year in and year out. You willing to pay Deebo $30 million off of one elite season? I don't think so. And like you said,
let me ask you a question. I know this is a bizarre hypothetical, but let's say Jamar Chase, the rules were different, and after 1 year, a rookie could be due for an extension. After seeing Jamar Chase did what he did as a rookie, would you say he'd be worth $30 million?
No.
Okay.
No,
okay.
I don't. No, I don't. I want to see consistency first. And I'm saying, and this is no knock against anybody, but I'm going to use Eric Armstead, for example. Eric Armstead was pretty inconsistent in the early latter of his career, He had that one monster year in 2019. He killed because we had the best probably D-line in football. We had a healthy D Ford, Bosa, DeForest Buckner, and Eric Armstead got 10 sacks that year. So he looked better than what he was, I think, because of the talent around him. He got paid. I don't feel like he's lived up to that to that money. That's my opinion.
That's fair. I'm with you.
Yeah, I get a lot of hate. I get a lot of hate for that because they say, "Oh, you can't look at the money." No, I can look at the money and his production because his production doesn't equal the paycheck. In my opinion, I agree. So I'm just scared that I think with Deebo, I understand people's argument, but at the same time, I just think that Deebo's numbers will go down just a bit, and there's no knock on him just because we have a quarterback who's going to distribute the ball equally to everybody. So
I got a way to make Deebo affordable.
Yeah.
Here's how the Niners can afford Deebo. Yeah, they can trade Jimmy for a ham sandwich. And if you want to trade someone, trade Kittle. I mean, really, people hated that idea when I floated it a couple of months ago. But now everyone's talking themselves into trading Deebo. Okay. You can talk yourself in it. That's fine. There are merits there. He's worth a lot. He's great. What about Kittle, though? Kittle's almost 29. Kittle's been injured the last couple of years. Kittle's not as explosive as Deebo Samuel. I mean, what is Kittle worth? That's my question. Is Kittle even worth the first-round pick anymore? I don't even know.
First round? I don't know. There's probably some teams who would pay it. But here's my thing, and, to get off the Deebo thing. So, me personally, and I know it's not my money, but at the same time, I'm giving him probably $24 million a year.
Yeah.
And if he wants 30, give him $6 million in incentives. I'm going to give you a base of 23, 24. If you want 30, you get 80 catches. You get 1,100 yards receiving. You make a Pro Bowl. Then we can talk about giving you your full 30. But to give him $30 million outright to make him the highest paid wide receiver who kind of fluctuates between a running back and a receiver, to me, I just don't think it's worth paying anybody that type of money, especially because we have so many high contracts on this team already. Trent Williams, Fred Warner, you got to pay Bosa. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here, if you had to pay one person, Bosa or Deebo, who would you pay and why?
I'm paying Bosa because I feel like somebody mentioned on Spaces yesterday. If you look at how the wide receivers been coming out, there's really no learning curve anymore. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, these dudes are coming out and producing their rookie years. So I just don't see that, a wide receiver. I feel like elite pass rushers are harder to come by than a wide receiver. So
that's a good point. See, I would actually go with Deebo, and I think my reasoning is that when they didn't have Bosa in 2020, they still had a top 5 defense. When they haven't had Deebo, their offense has been terrible because you need an explosive player. And while there are other explosive, you can get explosive. The Niners haven't. Kittle was explosive like 3 years ago. Ayuk's really good, but I'm not sure that he's explosive. Mostert was explosive. Lance has an explosive arm. I think he might have explosive legs, although he couldn't get to the corner on the zone read last year. I don't know. I'm just saying, as great as the scheme is, as great as all the players are, I still feel like Deebo is the difference between 10 wins last year and maybe 6. And that's, I don't know about getting rid of that guy.
And let me ask you this, though. Let me ask you this. Do you think that Deebo is just so important to the offense because of quarterback play?
Yeah, that's a great point, right? Like he was playing running back because the quarterback couldn't get the ball down the field. I would like to think that Deebo's numbers could actually get better with Lance at quarterback the way Cooper Kupp's did. I mean, it's going to be up to Lance, like who he decides the best target is. But I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that Deebo's the best option. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that. Jimmy,
I'm going to say this.
And Jimmy's own grandma talked crap about him in that Subway commercial.
Oh yeah, that's funny. I'm going to say this too, Grant. Jesse Naylor, who you always have on your show, he hosted a space yesterday talking about this situation with Deebo, and everybody talks about Ayuk. So he looked at the film, and I think Ayuk ran 23 routes. Okay. 29 routes. 7 of them were clear routes. So out of the 29 routes, those 21 that weren't clear out routes, just to open up things over the middle. Out of the 21 he ran, he was open 17 of them. And it's not like open of like, he had like some space, like a 1 or 2 yard space in between the corner. He was open down the field, and Jimmy missed him 17 times that he was open. So that's the kind of stuff that I don't see happening with Trey. And 2, that's why I don't think that Deebo will have, like I said, and you're right, he could have better numbers, depends on how we throw the football and stuff like that with Trey. But if you look at how Trey distributes the ball, and you look at his charts of when he started against Arizona and then against Houston, Texas, he throws it evenly around the whole field, over the middle to the out routes, out routes, over the whatever the case may be. Like, I don't think that, I think somebody brought it up. Like, I think Ayuk and Deebo both got like 6-7 targets, both against Houston Texans.
Yeah, that's right.
I think Kittle only got the 1 or 2, or whatever the case may be. Juwan Jennings got 4 targets. So he distributes the ball pretty evenly. So
yes, he does. If you look at that Houston game, like I think there were like 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 players that got targeted in that game. He really did distribute the ball. Yep, that's true. And the thing with Lance is he's gonna throw a lot more sideline passes than Jimmy. Jimmy doesn't throw. Jimmy throws like 10% of his balls outside the numbers because that's a pick 6 waiting to happen. That's just a floating duck. Lance is actually, I think, more at risk of getting intercepted over the middle because when he misses high. And if you miss that guy coming across the middle high, you hit the safety. So if you miss high on the sideline throw, you hit the hot dog vendor or the cheerleader or the coach or the player. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a low risk throw. So I think they're gonna. He has the arm to do it. It's a low risk throw. I think they're gonna ask. It's gonna look way different, and that plays to Ayuk's strengths and Jennings' strengths because those are tall, long wide receivers who can make acrobatic catches away from their frame near the sideline.
I agree.
Yeah, I'd love to see.
Deebo is going to be the deep threat on this team, though. I think you're going to see a new element to his game where it's not just all yards after the catch. That's what
I agree.
Yeah.
And you know what I said too, Grant, and I said too, it's like, with Trey too, we throw with Jimmy, so many balls were thrown over the middle to Kittle, Deebo, and stuff like that. And that's why they were always injured. I feel like there's going to be less injuries to our wide receiver core with Trey because he's going to be throwing it outside the numbers more, down the field more, where it's a lot of one-on-one situations where Deebo and Kittle have to get smacked by a linebacker and a safety catching the football.
Deebo got smacked hard in the NFC Championship game.
Yep.
Yeah. Deebo, the last few games, like there was times during that game where I didn't think he was going to make it, through the whole game. Like he's there huffing and puffing and just like, man, that's crazy.
That's true. How many more seasons is he? Like, honestly, I think one question is if you gave him, $70 million guaranteed the next 2 years, front load the deal, would he do that again? Or would he, tweak his hamstring and be like, hey, I got to protect my investment? Because that's human, right? Once these players start getting paid just a gargantuan amount of money, the incentive to play through every injury is not there anymore. It's like almost like you got to protect your body. I got to protect my body's worth so much freaking money now. I got to protect it. I got the bag. I got to keep the bag. It's just natural. So I'm just saying.
I think that's, like kind of where I'm at with this Deebo thing, is like every argument that's being made for Deebo, we were all making for Kittle a couple years ago. And now where are we at? The whole offense goes through Kittle. Kittle's a wide receiver and a tight end. This offense can't do shit without Kittle. Well, look how easily it went to the next player, That
is so true. And then Kittle's injury issues, they didn't go away. They got worse. The explosiveness got worse. The shelf life wasn't long and it was predictable. And Deebo, he's right there. He plays a very physical style of football. He's had a lot of groin and hamstring injuries. Those aren't, he hasn't shown that he can really recover that quickly. Yeah, it's scary. It's really scary. It's a tough one. It's a really tough one. I don't know. I go back and forth on this one. I could see trading him too. You get a whole lot for him. You get more for him than you got for Buckner, probably.
Yeah. And you know what I'll say before we move on? These fans need to stop getting too emotionally attached with these players. Because I tell you what, I think all three of us agree that Ayuk and Trey have a rapport going on. So if Ayuk comes out here next season in 2022 and has 1,500 yards, now you're looking at him getting a contract extension. So people need to realize the 49ers are going to be in a situation where they're going to have to choose between Deebo and Ayuk. So you need to get in your heads that you're not going to be able to keep both of them, because I don't think there's not one team in this league that are paying their starting wide receivers over $20 million a year.
Right. You can't pay both. You can't have two. You can have one guy like that, but not two. Yep. So if Deebo gets it this year, Brandon Ayuk, you're probably going to be playing for a contract somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's true. Because, if you look at Ayuk, no one saw this coming for Deebo. A year ago, none of us were thinking hey, can the Niners afford to pay Deebo $30 million a year? That wasn't a conversation. But then he had one all-pro season and the market exploded. What if Ayuk has an all-pro season this coming year, right?
Exactly.
What if he just happens to be Lance's favorite target? He gets 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, all-pro season. How much is he going to cost? Yep. And what could you get for him in a trade?
It's true, because he's on a 5th-year option because he was a first-round pick. So he has that extra deal, extra year. So
That's true.
I want to go back to the beginning of this past season in training camp. You were there, you seen, the whole non-quarterback competition and all that going on. We had Jordan Elliott on the channel a couple weeks ago, and I asked him the same question, around it. What were your thoughts? I know that you've been Team Trey from, the beginning. There was a point where, you were reporting about Trey and the 49ers had told you something, to not say something like that again, to not something, right?
They didn't talk to me. I think that was
sent you email.
They didn't say anything about me. Oh, no. It was they didn't tell me. They didn't tell me not to write anything.
Okay, well, something was said about, not too much of Trey's info. I don't know, something about what Trey was doing, not getting out or whatnot. And it seemed like shortly after that, it started, happening to where, we stopped seeing Trey. We didn't hear from Trey. And, then we started hearing that Trey's confidence was gone, around that time. And all that whole mess happened after that. And pretty much we didn't see Trey until, we needed him to start. What were you, what did you see during training camp? Like, were they competing? I know that at one point you said that Trey was, one of the best quarterbacks that you've seen in a 49ers uniform. So, and I know that you've been around the game forever, with your dad and, everything. So I just kind of want to, get your thoughts on the whole Trey and Jimmy situation. And from what you saw, should we be expecting that Trey is going to be ready this year?
Thought he was ready last year. It baffled me. But what happened last year was a combination of the media and the players. Like, there's a large contingent of people in Santa Clara that see things a certain way. And so, for example, Jimmy Garoppolo is terrible in practice. He'll throw a pick almost every day. He threw 11 picks in training camp in 17 days. It was disgusting. I think Lance threw 4. Okay. So Jimmy has his TD-INT ratio in training camp in the team drills was 1-to-1. It was literally 1-to-1, 11 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. And the way people would discuss it in the media is Jimmy Garoppolo really bounced back after his interception and completed 7 of his next 8 throws. He was a really classic Jimmy, bounced right back. And sure, he got intercepted, but Fred Warner's great. It was Fred Warner who intercepted him. Oh, and Jimmy was probably working on things too. Afterward, Jimmy said he wasn't concerned and he was smiling, so it's no big deal. So no matter what Jimmy did, it was no problem. If there was always an excuse or they would just play past the interception, he really bounced back. You heard that all the time. He bounced back after that interception. Trey Lance out here with a 12-to-4, 3-to-1 TD-INT ratio, big plays every day. People would find little ways to critique him. Actually, there was this one throw, he airmailed it. He missed really bad this one throw that day. Or there was this one portion of the day where there was a move the ball period, and it was kind of a little bit more like a real game. And, it's first down, second down, third down. And he went 3 and out one time. I don't think he's ready. It's it was 2 minutes. It was one series, and it was a nonstop. That kind of bullshit. And I thought it was I almost felt it was racist, but it wasn't racist. It's just the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo won all those games early in his career with the Niners, and some people just feel it doesn't matter what he does on the field. It doesn't matter how many picks he throws. It doesn't matter how ugly it looks. There's something magical about him. He inspires others. The rest of the team plays better because he's there. He gets all this credit for things that are intangible, literally.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so how do you beat that if you're Trey Lance? How do you beat that? Every time, every incomplete pass, every drop is your fault.
Yeah.
Because Jimmy would have inspired the guy to catch the ball. Jimmy throws a more catchable ball. It's endless. And so I think Trey's always going to be working against that until Jimmy's off the team. Really. And last year there was no quarterback. Trey got 5% of the first team reps. It barely ever happened. So anytime he did something good, his critics would be well, yeah, he's facing the second team defense.
Yeah.
Or you could be well, yeah, but he has the second team offensive line who have people who aren't going to be on the team this year. Literally will get cut and be maybe on the practice field, on the practice squad. But it was everything he did was invalidated. Everything he did didn't count because it was with the second team. And all the bad stuff Jimmy did didn't matter because it's just practice. For Trey, it's life and death. If he can't prove it, he's not ready. But for Jimmy, it doesn't matter how many freaking interceptions he throws. It's just practice. So it's not a fair playing field. And people in the media try to make it seem like it is. That's why they bring out spreadsheets. Because what a spreadsheet does is try to make it seem like it's objective. It's not my perception. These are just numbers. These are just the numbers. When really, it's not. You're cooking the books to make the kid look bad, which is crazy too, because why should Trey Lance have to be better than Jimmy Garoppolo every single day in training camp to get the job? The whole idea is if you give Trey Lance the job, over the course of a few months, he's going to improve. You got Trey Lance because you've given Jimmy Garoppolo 1,000 chances and he doesn't improve. So just have courage, move on, take the growing pains, and they won't do it. And it's crazy to me. If you want to have competition for Trey, get rid of Jimmy and bring in someone who doesn't have the entire locker room in their pocket, but they won't do that. It's crazy.
That's why I think it's going to be a nightmare if Jimmy's on this team at the start of the season. It's how's Trey even supposed to stand a chance for all those things you just said? We know that these players, like Jimmy, and that it's going to be horrible.
Maybe that's why so many vets left. Maybe the Niners were like, you know what? All these guys, these 30-year-old vets who've been on the team for 5 years with Jimmy, Laken Tomlinson, DJ Jones, Jaquaski Tart, K'Wan Williams. You know what? We don't know who was Team Jimmy, but probably those guys fit the description. I'm guessing. You know what I'm saying? So all of a sudden, a bunch of young guys who weren't on that Super Bowl team, and a bunch of coaches who weren't on that Super Bowl losing team, a bunch of guys who don't really know Jimmy that well, who they see Jimmy, they see Trey Lance as two new people. Maybe that's interesting.
That's a great point.
Yeah. Yep.
Since you brought up the spreadsheets, a question I wanted to ask you was these other, 49ers media, whatever, they work for or with the 49ers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You work for yourself.
Thank you.
I mean, this is what I think fans don't seem to understand, is that you can report and put out pretty much whatever you want.
Yes.
And these other people, it seems, like Matt and, like they have very close working ties with the 49ers, right?
Well, NBC is partners with the 49ers. KNBR is the flagship radio station. They broadcast their games, so they're partners. The Niners have been very smart. The most powerful news organizations locally are business partners with the 49ers. So in a sense, there's someone in the 49ers organization who's kind of like editing, hey, don't say that, can't write that. And I'm not saying he's doing it every day, but if he establishes where the line is, and that guy doesn't ever talk. I don't even know his name. He's not calling me.
So do you think, because it seemed, at the beginning of training camp, some people, like Matt and all them, they were talking, good things about Trey, and then that all quickly stopped. And then we know Mr. Spreadsheet has always been Team Jimmy. Do you think that, that the 49ers have something to do with that, with all that Trey talk all of a sudden going away, like Trey just vanished off the face of the planet?
I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble here and say things. I'll just speculate though. But like, for example, a national writer, I'm not going to say his name. A national writer came to one practice, like a weekend. All right. And this was right after me and Mayoko had just been freaking floored by Trey Lance and said, this guy's phenomenal. So I guess to me, I don't think the Niners wanted that to get out, because any positive press for Lance would come at Jimmy's expense. And we saw the number one goal for the Niners for years has been trading Jimmy for as much as they can get, pumping up his value. So you can't let Trey take his job. Jimmy has to be the starter. So this one national writer comes to one practice, does a report, hasn't seen the other 6 days, and says, Jimmy's looks phenomenal. It's the best training camp Jimmy's ever had. He's in the zone. I'm like, you haven't been here. It was 1 day. First of all, he wasn't even that great today. Second of all, you haven't been here. So to me, when a national writer says that, I'm thinking, you talked to John Lynch or someone. You talked to the PR director, John Lynch, Kyle. So you talked to someone and they told you their spin and you took it and you went with it because you got the one-on-one off the record. So it seems to me like the Niners were really trying to pump up Jimmy. They still are. It's not working. It's not working
at all.
It's not ridiculous.
And that's again, I think, why a lot of people feel they haven't named Trey Lance a starter yet. Like they still think that some team looks at Jimmy as a starter, is going to pay starters capital, second round pick, third round pick, and once you name Jimmy the backup, what's he worth then?
Exactly.
Nothing. A sixth. Yeah. So that's That's what's going on.
I don't understand who they think's going to trade for him. Like,
idiot.
There's no teams that need a quarterback, It's like you waited till the very last freaking possible time, and it's just like, oh my god.
What's crazy is I think they could have traded Jimmy to the Colts for their third round pick, like before free agency, because no one knew Matt Ryan would be available. Right. But the Niners once again got greedy and waited, and then that pick went to Atlanta for a better quarterback. And Indianapolis was smart to wait. The Niners were not.
And you know what's funny, and not really funny as far as like a business perspective, but if the 49ers do indeed decide, like, we're just going to keep Jimmy on this roster because what Jed York said or whatever the case may be, and I'm okay with keeping him another year, what you're going to get for him next year is a third-round compensatory pick. So did you really play your cards right? Because if you could have got a third in January, you should have just did that then instead of waiting until 2023 to get a compensatory. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just
why do you
not
care
smart
so
business
much about a third round comp pick. Yeah. That's like the 105th pick in the draft. Why do you
exactly
care? Is it because you traded a 3rd round comp pick to get Trey Lance and you're trying to make it look like, here's the thing. The Niners are really sensitive about the optics of that trade. When you are on their facility and someone in the organization hears you say, well, the Niners traded 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance, they'll be like, no, we didn't. We traded 2. It's like, no, you traded 3. No, we traded 2. It's like, okay. So they're real sensitive about making it seem like how much they gave up for him. Because God forbid he's not a Hall of Famer. They don't want to be like, we blew it. So they got to get – I think they're so concerned about making that trade seem cheaper. Because really, it was outrageous. They gave up way too much for a college quarterback. They gave up the Deshaun Watson package for a college quarterback. So they're trying to make it seem cheaper. This year, you know, the Dolphins picked 29th. So they gave up a late first-round pick. Good. Now you got to get that 3rd-round comp pick. Get that back. Good. And now you see, we didn't give up that much for Trey Lance. Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
Okay. If he's great, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
I was about to say that. I was like, if Trey Lance is what the organization, what fans think he's going to be, who cares what you gave up for him?
Doesn't
if
matter.
If he takes you to and wins a couple Super Bowls, those what you gave up for him is irrelevant now. Right. So who cares what you gave up for him? So, and here's my thing. You know, me and Miriah have been talking about this for weeks. It's like, you know, a part of being a man is to acknowledge your mistakes. I think the fans would respect John and Kyle.
Not just
a
man,
just came out,
just
a person, just a leader. Exactly, a leader.
Straight up.
If you just came out, you just came out and said, look, we overplayed our hand. We thought we can play Jimmy in 2021 and get 2 seconds for him. It didn't work out. He got hurt. We're just going to cut him outright or whatever the case may be, and we're going to move on. Like, I think people would respect that. You know what? Cool. It was a gamble. You tried. It didn't work. So let's move on. Let's recuperate that $25 million cap space and use it on some players to make this team better, because we've talked about this for weeks. The NFC over the last couple of weeks has gotten weaker. And to me, the 49ers roster isn't as good as it was in the NFC Championship game. It's gotten worse. It's gotten worse.
Yeah.
So the fact that the NFC is this week, because to me, it's a 4-team race. It's the Packers, Tampa Bay, us, and the Rams. That's it. 4-team race. So
unless
I guarantee.
Mid-3 team, don't count out the Saints. Is all I'm going to say.
Okay.
They're a good team when they have Jameis or Taysom. They win a lot. But basically 4. And maybe the Vikings, but those teams are like.
Yeah, so if you look at those teams, so even if you do put 5 or 6 teams, including the 49ers, you're looking at guaranteed at least a playoff spot.
I would think
you know what I'm saying? So you're looking at it as far as what this team looks like. We are a top 5 to 7 roster in football. You know what I'm saying?
Got the 6th best odds to win the Super Bowl right now.
Exactly. So if you look at everything and just say, look, the NFC is weak. We have a golden opportunity to get to a Super Bowl and win it.
Let's strike.
Let's try. Let's strike while the iron is hot. But they're just not doing that.
What? It's 4th and an inch on the opponent's 30-yard line. Let's punt. Let's punt. We'll play the field position game. We'll get the ball back next season. Like, what are you doing? What? True. I'm sorry. Because they're not tanking. Of course they're not tanking. But it feels like punting, which is different. Like, we could make a move this year like the Rams, but next year.
Yeah.
Let's do it next year. Like, oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. What's Deebo going to be next year? You play him at running back. His career could go up in smoke at any time. And then what are you got? Like, now is your time, man. Like, forget Trey Lance. And I think it's like, well, Trey Lance isn't ready yet. Who cares about your quarterback? You're at a run-first defense team where the quarterback is like he's part of it, but he's not the leader of it. You're not the Cardinals.
Like, we had a quarterback this whole time that couldn't do shit. So
exactly. Like, what do you think Jimmy is? You were winning in spite of him. Come on.
Yeah.
You know what's funny, Grant, and everybody, you make the argument to everybody about the 49ers not being aggressive enough. Now, if we were the Jets, Jacksonville, something like that, if you're not want to make these kind of moves, I get it. When you're a team this good that has been to 2 NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl appearance in 3 years, and you're not striking while the iron is hot, and people were saying, well, relax, we got the draft coming up. Well, so does 31 other teams.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So it's
the Niners pick 61st.
That's what I'm saying.
What? They don't have the pick that they were counting on getting for Jimmy Garoppolo. That was part of the plan. Trade Jimmy for a 2nd or a 3rd. That's not there. And so the Niners they need a starting strong safety, a starting nickelback, a starting nose tackle unless Javon Kinlaw gets his stuff together, a starting left guard, maybe a starting right tackle, maybe a starting running back.
that right side of the line, offensive line right now is not good to me.
It's not good. And if you saw it, did you see Mike McGlinchey's most recent posts on Instagram?
I was going to ask you about that.
Him looks skinny, man, looks like Joe Staley now. So I don't know what's up with that.
That's also, exactly what I texted him last night. I go, well, Mike, you know, he was wanting to look like Joe Staley, and now he does. So it's a possibility he never comes back at this point, you know? Like, he can't play football looking like that.
This should be expected. He was never that – he didn't have big legs to begin with. He tore a quad. I mean, you can't do squats while that's recovering. So, I mean, I think he's pretty much – by the time he could get back to the squat rack, think about how much muscle atrophy he's had and how he has to work back from square one. I mean, that's years and years of work that he has to start over. I don't know. I'm telling you, a lot of this injury takes out athletes. It took out Tony Parker. So the Niners
Weston Richburg too.
Yup. So the Niners have to be really careful here. And if Mike McGlinchey can't go, they kind of have to spend that 61st pick on his replacement or trade up.
They're gonna have to, because I'm not comfortable going into the season with Justin School or Colton McKivitz at right tackle. I'm sorry.
What I'm afraid of is that the Niners once again are going to be living in like hope la la land, and they're like, McGlinchey will come back second half of the season. We'll just get by with Colton McKivitz the first. It's like, nah, no. What if he doesn't? Because I feel like that's what they did in 2020. They were like, you know what, Richburg's coming back. We'll just weather the storm with Ben Garland, Hronis Grasu. Nope, he's not coming back, and now your center position ruined your season. Yeah.
And I'm not even sure, confident that Mac's going to come back. So if he doesn't, then what?
We'll confirm it, Miriah. They're like, yeah, we're pretty confident.
I feel like they're saying the same shit that he said with Joe Staley.
That's how I feel like. Like you're confident. You can text him right now. You can get a straight answer right now. He won't tell you. That's the most interesting part. See, to me, it's like the story that the headline is Alex Mack most likely coming back. The headline, I think, is the Niners still don't know 100% whether Alex Mack is coming back, but that makes me a hot take artist. So I don't.
I appreciate your time, Grant. I know you've been with us already a long time. One more thing before you go. When I haven't even been on Twitter very long, or YouTube situation or anything. I think it was during the 2020, when we didn't have nothing else to do. That's when I first, found out who you were. It was on Niners All Day with Dre and Bronze. And I don't even think you had your own YouTube channel going at that time, really. You would get on with them and whatever, and Jason Aponte, and, that's when I first met all you guys, and just, I've seen you grow, like your channel's humongous now, over 47K subscribers. Like you are, 49ers YouTube,
Thanks.
Everybody, like so many people have gotten into this whole content creations and everything because of you. Like you have opened the path and like are leading the way, I feel like, for the rest of us, and you've gotten so many people's like career, like I wouldn't say started, but at least gave them a boost and helped them like get to where they are now. And and I think that like of course you get like so much hate on Twitter and stuff, and I try to tell people, like, Grant, the person, is so much different than the troll Twitter Grant, and so much different from the YouTube person Grant, like the actual person Grant. Like, if you would just like, got to know the person Grant, like you would understand like why I ride so hard for you and stick up for you all the time. And like, because like, like it's such night and day difference, right? Like you could be such a jerk on Twitter and stuff. I think that's what people see, and that's what people, so that's what they think of. Like, oh, Grant's just an asshole. I'm just gonna.
No, I play one on television.
Yeah, that's it. Like that's what I try to tell people. Like, that's his job. Like, just like an actor going to work, just like a whatever. It's like a drag freaking queen going to work, like they have to put in all turn into from a guy to a girl, all this makeup, all this, to put on a show of somebody that they aren't, like.
And it's like, I could tweet about all the nice things I think about the 49ers, but where's the fun in that, Miriah? Yeah. Where's the fun in that? Exactly. That's not what Twitter's for.
So like, everything that you've been through and all that, like if you were to give like one thing of advice, like to everybody that's, getting into content creating, or people that maybe have, had their channels for a couple years and it just, like isn't growing how they thought, or, whatever it is, like what would be your thing, like, like to tell us?
Okay. I love this question. Okay. I feel like what I've done the last couple of years is I've found a format that works for me really well. and I've told everyone like how to do it, like how to copy exactly what not copy, but how to do it. And like I don't see anyone else necessarily making big bucks yet. And what you really have to do is it's about you. It's about your personality. And you need to be as silly and as authentic as you possibly can. Laugh at yourself, show your process of how you think, change your mind from time to time. Like, don't just go on. I think we've seen some people like the spreadsheet just realize that you can do everything I do, but if you just go on and drone on and tell people how it is and why they're wrong, it's boring.
Yeah.
You really have to make it. This is entertainment, and you gotta be as entertaining. Like, find ways to be unexpected and weird and fun while talking about football, because I think that's really why I'm having success right now. I'm interactive. Yeah, I know football and I can argue and I can talk about the nuts and bolts, but like, people want to watch for an hour or two because it's fun. It's entertaining. Yeah. And like some football, especially guys, can be really serious about sports and what they think. And you see like on Twitter, people getting like straight up fights about opinions about, like, what are you talking about? Like, none of you guys are getting money. You guys are all arguing for clout on Twitter. Like, can you just step back and realize how childish you all look? And I fall into it too. So I'm not going to just preach here, but I can see Miriah just like on Twitter being like, come on, guys, what are you doing? This is like, you're like clicking up and getting into like real beefs over, like setting the narrative about a team that you cover. Like, that's hella dumb.
Yeah, I agree.
Make some paper.
Yeah.
Get that paper. That's what you need to do. You don't need to be fighting with this dude about whether it's a good offseason or not. Just keep him pushing and get some paper.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I've seen people challenge each other to fist fights and
why don't you meet me
here.
Section 427, bro.
It's like, come on, dude. Like, you're arguing over
it,
less about you.
Yeah, come on.
Like you're really gonna have a fist fight because you think that Trey's better than Jimmy? Like, it's just so ridiculous, man. It's comical though.
Yes. And I think the fact that people get that worked up on Twitter is why I tweet the way I do. It's like, you guys want to get mad? I got you.
I mean, and what you do is like, it's genius, like, and that's the thing, like I've seen, people try to copy, exactly what you do, but, the opposite of you, I guess. And it not work out too well, and I think that, I don't know, like, you're just different. And I think that's what it is. It's entertainment, like, and you're knowledgeable, like, what you're talking about. And that's what people don't understand. Oh, he doesn't know shit. He just tweets, a bunch of bullshit. It's like, no, he knows football. Like, he can break down film. Like, the guy knows football. He's just tweeting, stupid shit to get your freaking reaction. That's it.
Also, I think there's a novelty in a beat writer being so critical of the team. Like, you never see it. And I think just the fact that I'm the one guy who's willing to do it, people that even hate me, they're like, listen to this motherfucker. Like, did he just fucking say that? Like, you can't say that. Like, yes, I can. And that's why you're watching. It's like, even if you don't like me, it's like, oh, I can't believe he said that. And I think there's something entertaining. Like, you people hate watch me. I think players on the team hate watch me.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, hey, if you just say a bunch of nice stuff about the team, you will get hella followers on Twitter. You will get, did you really? I mean, what have you really accomplished though? You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Teach their own. I'm just saying. Teach their own.
Yeah.
Do it however you want to do it. You don't have to do it like me. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Do it however it works for you.
Yeah. And I think, it's, since the Jimmy Ward interview on your channel and, him dropping the F-bombs and everything. And,
you like, do that? Oh, okay.
Yeah. At that point, then you got so much, like, you loosened up yourself.
I thought it was against the rules.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. Jimmy's allowed to do it. I can do it.
And I think that's why, like, because so many other channels, like, like, we'll have people on and they're like, is it okay if we cuss? I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, this is my own channel. Like, what are they going to do to me? Like, I don't care. I don't have a boss, I don't have somebody that's going to spank your ass for cussing on here. It's like, I don't give a shit, and I think that's why people like watching you too, because it's like, oh, okay, well, he doesn't care. Like, he's going to say what he wants to say, and that's what we like, like, you keep it real on there, and, like, it's appreciated.
Like, let me just say, like, this has been my one business, my one, like, whole strategy since I've been 23. I got the job on the beat, and I immediately noticed that look, I knew all these beat writers, and I respect them. I know them. I still respect them. I always respect them. But I just happened to notice that they're all very similar. Their content is very similar. The way they approach the team, their perspective, all of them. And that's cool. But it seemed like that created a lane for me. Like, oh, I'll be different. I'll just be different. You know, like you guys are here to see it from the Niners perspective. I won't. And I don't know. It's worked for me so far. Maybe it doesn't work for other people. It worked for my dad. It worked for me. It's a tough. I think I'd probably have far more. Like, I don't have that many followers on Twitter for a beat writer, right? I mean, Mayoko has like 130,000. Lombardi has he's double me. So in a way, I think it's kind of hard to do what I do and get a foothold. Like, honestly, I could have all the success in the world on YouTube. NBC's never going to hire me. The Athletic's never going to hire me. It's never going to happen, which is funny. It's kind of funny. Like, who cares though? Oh well.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think you're better off, you know?
Like, absolutely. I don't want an editor. I don't want someone telling me what I can and can't say and what's good for their brand. Like, screw your brand.
Hey, Grant, before you go, I just want to tell you that I appreciate you coming on here. I know you're a busy man. Got a lot of people probably asking you to be on their show. So thank you for your time on that. And the reason why I say I like you is because like you keep it real, and there's not a lot of people who do that. You know, I feel like you say stuff that's prior to what people are talking about now. So like, you know, you'll say something like in January, people were up in arms. Oh, I can't believe Grant just said that. Grant said that. And now it's April. And it's like, well, is there a possibility that can happen? But nobody wants to give you the credit for saying it first. So I want to give you the props for that. And I think for the most part, a lot of, I wouldn't say everybody, but I say a big portion of this fan base would like to have their ears tickled as far as their team. They want to hear the good stuff. They want to hear, oh, we're going to win a Super Bowl, when we look at reality and say, oh, there's a possibility that we might not win a Super Bowl because the team has not gotten better. So I think when you say stuff like that, when you tell the truth and you speak your mind, a lot of fans don't like that. They want optimism all the time. They want positivity all the time, when that's not life. Life is looking at positives and giving, what's the word for it? Like constructive criticism. You know what I'm saying? And when you give constructive criticism, a lot of people can't handle that, and they think you're a hater. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about, stuff like that. So that's why I appreciate you, man.
Thank you. What I can't stand about certain sports writers, I'm not saying anyone by name, but there's like, my dad wrote a book a couple of years ago. He called it the press box tough guy. And it's not just in the press box, but it's like in the fan base too. Like you'll be in the press box, you'll be having these private conversations with people who have a platform, and they're like, what the fuck are the Niners? What are they fucking thinking? This is so fucking, and they're just like, you know, so unfiltered. It's like, oh wow, you're gonna go write that, right? You're gonna say that, right? On air. But on air, there's no opinion. Or if there's an opinion, I see it from the Niners perspective. It's like, dude, what happened to all that shit you were just saying right now? Yeah. And it's like fans too. Like I talk to a lot of fans on the phone, or I have my own like relationship with people I've met through this stuff. Like a lot of people are very unfiltered, and they'll have things that they say, and then they go on their show or whatever. All of a sudden, it's like, where the hell was that stuff you were talking about? And that's all I'm talking about. Be true to yourself. Yeah. If you feel something, hey, have the courage to say it. And if people get mad at you, good. Do you know how many days of the year people are really freaking mad at me? Like, it's okay. There's always tomorrow, and it doesn't ruin your day. In fact, a lot of the times it's quite amusing. So.
Yeah, that's something that we've talked about a lot, is that, like I'll say whatever the hell I want, I don't care if you're not going to want to subscribe or like it or whatever, then you don't, like I'm not going to come on here and pretend to be somebody that I'm not, or say something that I'm not feeling. Like if I think we should trade Deebo, I'm going to get on here and say we should trade Deebo, like if like, I don't care. Like if you're going to get mad, you get mad. Like that don't mean I'm going to get on here and lie about shit,
Yeah. You know what's funny to be Grant? Something interesting though. He says it's a never-ending battle. You can't tell people how to be a fan. That's true. There are emotional fans who only want to hear the good, and there are the more level-headed fans who look at the game, team from all angles. It's a spectrum though. And if you talk to a guy like Vish, who's off in the Midwest, he'll tell you like in other parts of the country, the media is much more on like the middle or to the skeptical spectrum of sports coverage. Out here in the Bay Area in particular, it's very much on the idolization. Like these guys are the great, these guys are heroes, these guys are geniuses. And I think it's a little bit of that Bay Area inferiority complex. Like, the East Coast only looks at LA, like nothing we do out here gets recognized. We got all this great talent and all this stuff, and no one knows. So we're going to pump it up ourselves. And I think there's a little bit of that going. Also, the Yorks are so obsessed with controlling the media narrative. That's what they do, because York wasn't good at it when he got the team when he was 27.
Yeah. Hey, Grant, you know what I will say too? This is an example.
Fire yourself.
Yeah, this is seriously. I know that was hilarious. This is an example I'm talking about. Before I let you go. So, the thing with Joe Montana's interview and his assumptions of Trey, when he said, "Oh, I don't think Trey's ready. They need to keep Jimmy until they get another quarterback." Okay, when he said that, I went on Spaces and I was just like, "Look, I respect Joe Montana. He's you think of 49ers, you think of Joe Montana, depending on what age you are." Okay, I sat there and said that on Spaces. You don't know what you're talking about. You think you know more than a quarterback that has 4 Super Bowl rings. And I'm just like, I don't care what Joe Montana has. The simple fact is he can make his point. He can make his point saying that he don't feel Trey is ready. I respect that. But I don't agree with the fact that he said until they get another quarterback, meaning he doesn't think that Trey is good enough. So because I didn't agree with Joe Montana on that, I didn't know what I was talking about because he's a Hall of Famer. He knows what he's talking about. Like that kind of stuff right there to me is funny because it's like, we're all entitled, kind of like what Jamal said. We kind of entitled to have our own opinion as a fan. I don't care how popular Joe Montana is. I don't agree with them. You know what I'm saying?
It's ridiculous. Imagine if Trevor Lawrence had played 2 games last year and someone saying, he's just not ready based on the 2. Everyone would be like, that's ridiculous. He's a rookie. He showed good things. And that would be the right thing to say. With Lance, you can say that. It's always the black athlete quarterback that you can say that about. Oh, he doesn't know how to play quarterback. I saw 10 snaps. He's an athlete trying to play the position. Trevor Lawrence is playing it the right way. He's just a rookie. Dude, It's the same. They're both rookies. Lance showed enough in his 2 starts to be encouraged that he's a rookie who can improve and be good.
Absolutely.
I don't understand people who can say, "No, I've seen enough. I have seen enough." No, you freaking haven't. Shut up. Yeah. Shut up. Sorry. Anyway.
I think from what we've seen with Lance in the Texans game that he looked better than freaking what's his nuts and on the Jets and Trevor Lawrence and
I did this. It took 10 minutes. Go to the Texans on the Pro Football Reference. Look at every one of their box scores this year. Look at the quarterback rating of the opposing quarterback and just see where Trey Lance stacks up against every single quarterback that played against that team. Hint, I think only 3 quarterbacks had a higher quarterback rating than him. I think it was Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray, and maybe Carson Wentz. And then it was Trey Lance. And guys like Justin Herbert, not as good. A lot of good quarterbacks, not as good. So, I'm not saying that means he's going to be a great quarterback, but for a rookie, he showed enough in 2 starts for you to be encouraged and to say, okay, let's give him his chance now. Let's let him actually freaking play like every other young quarterback. Come on. What does he have to do to get on the field? Does he have to do 8 backflips in a row before? What does a guy have to do in practice before they say he's ready? He'll be ready when he gets some playing time and he gets his feet underneath him. Then he'll be ready.
I agree.
All right, Grant. I appreciate you so much for giving us your time, for all you do. I'll talk to you soon.
I'll meet you in Vegas, man.
Vegas.
Yep.
See you in Vegas.
I'll be there Thursday and Friday.
Oh, I'll be there. I'll definitely see you guys. I said I was going to go NPR voice the whole time, but I got excited. Next time, I will keep it down. This was fun.
That's funny you say that because my old job now, but I have to talk on the radio, the walkie-talkie, whatever the hell you call it, a lot. And everybody would always tell me, oh, you have such a soothing voice when you come over on the, shit's blowing up in the fucking casino. And I'm just like, okay, guys, I
always admire people that have a great voice. Like Rob on my channel has a great voice. You have a great voice. And I have a terrible voice. I stutter all the time. I never express myself well. Maybe that's part of my charm, but your presentation is great. I love it. It's phenomenal.
Well, I appreciate you. I'll see you soon. Talk to you soon, Grant.
Right,
thank you.
Yeah.
So there was something I had seen up here that I wanted to touch on. This right here. If you're still here, hopefully you are. I didn't want to, interrupt Grant's talking, but I had seen this interview, and so many times throughout the freaking interview, I just wanted to, turn it off. I normally, am pretty calm. I don't, not on here, but on Twitter and shit, I don't be just going crazy and shit. But, when I was watching that video and, they were doing the premiere or whatever, so everybody's talking in the chat, and I just could not help myself. I wanted to go through that freaking video and just grab Papa by the freaking I was just so pissed at his ass for the things he was saying, because it was did you ever watch it after I sent it to you?
Yeah, his opinion is trash.
Freaking ridiculous things that didn't even make fucking sense. I just could not believe the things that were coming out of his mouth. Like, that interview had me so freaking heated afterwards. Like, I lost all respect for that guy. Like, how can you take anything that he says serious after that? Like, you know, like, he is straight up fucking lying about shit on there, like saying such fucking bullshit, like that you know, that there's no way for you to even know. And again, like, people just running their mouths like with no fucking consequences, you know?
Yeah, it's you know what's funny about that? I feel like, and I don't know, it feels like people are paid to talk foolishness. Like, there is no way that you can see what everybody else sees week in, week out and have that kind of opinion about Jimmy and Trey. You know what I'm saying? That it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, who's paying you to go out there? Like, is it Dwanye? Hey, go on there and go ahead and say some good stuff about my client, because that just doesn't make sense. People who don't even watch football can look at a game and be like, man, number 10, like, he cost you the game or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just it's I don't know. It's atrocious how some of these people talk about Jimmy. And two, we talk about it with the players. It's like, how can you sit there and ride for a guy like that? Like, when it comes to business, you got to take friendship and partnership as a business out of it. There's people who I'm friends with that, like, suck at work. Like, they're just like, man, like, your work ethic is trash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm cool with you. I'll go out and have a drink with you and stuff, but I don't want to deal with you at work. So it's like, when you look at Jimmy, how can you in your right mind sit there and be like, oh, he gives us the best chance to be, I'm gonna ride for him? Like, I just don't get it, Miriah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I can understand the players, you know, kind of like, you know, that had been on the team and had been losing, and then, you know, when Jimmy gets there, just so happens to be, you know, when Kyle Shanahan and everybody, you know, all the pieces fall into place, you know, not just Jimmy getting there, like, the whole team got better. They put a lot of players into place, you know, and the team starts winning. Like, so I can understand, you know, they're looking at him like, okay, this is the guy, you know, like, we know that Jimmy didn't take them to the Super Bowl. That's not what he's saying. But we know that the quarterback is the leader of the team, or should be. So, you know, the guy that's the leader of the team, you know, that led us to the Super Bowl, you know, like, so I can understand, you know, that connection and everything. But what I can't understand is that you see this guy on the field, you know, whether it's practice, whether it was the Texans game or whatever, you can see, anybody that's not blind can see that the guy has talent, that the guy has an arm. So for a wide receiver, for a tight end, for somebody that Trey is going to increase their value, you know, make them worth more, make their careers better, because he can throw them the ball, he can get them the ball, you know, like, he's not going to make you have to throw the ball to them behind the line of scrimmage and
probably
make you do all this work and get hurt and shit, right? Yeah. So, you know, like, why wouldn't you want that better quarterback? You know, like I can understand, okay, that's your homie and whatever, but that time's come to an end. Like, you know, like, move on to the better person, you know, like, it shouldn't be that hard. You know, they all want to always sit there and say, oh, it's a business. We know it's a business. We know it's a business. Okay. Yeah, it's a business, and Jimmy's not your quarterback anymore. You know, like, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
And then even like that interview with Sanders came out this week, you know, where he's talking about Jimmy's, you know, such a great leader, and he's this and that, you know, like, and, you know, he doesn't blame the loss on him because there was a lot of plays they could have all done better, which is true. We know that, right? But not once did he say, you know, like, oh, he's a great quarterback, he has a great arm.
Not once.
You know, like, none of that.
Not once. He talked about his leadership qualities and how good of a guy he was, a locker room guy. Not once is his ability of quarterback play. Not one time. Yeah. Not because if that was Aaron Rodgers or Josh Allen, oh man, he can make every throw. You know, he puts, you know, whatever the case may be, it would have been about their quarterback play. Not once did Emmanuel Sanders say anything good about how good he plays quarterback.
Yeah, and that's everybody that we hear talk about Jimmy. It's always that kind of stuff. Oh, he's a good leader. His cadence, his, you know, like, he's good in the huddle, but never about what he can actually
quarterback sneaks and stuff like that. Yeah, it's never how good he throws the football. Yeah, like,
if you're a quarterback and the best thing that you can do is a quarterback sneak, that's pretty sad. You know, like, not even throwing the ball.
What's up, you pay me $5 million this season. I'll perfect that quarterback sneak.
I'll quarterback sneak at every fucking play out there. Just go out. We don't even need a playbook. Just quarterback sneak every time.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Totally agree.
I appreciate you guys all for being here.
Hey, Denise,
I think, do we have any other questions here? There's a lot of stuff I missed because I couldn't keep up. I hate this freaking Subway commercial. I only saw it once and it was like muted at first, but I seen his freaking ugly face on there, so I unmuted it real quick. And I'm just like, oh my god! Like, you know, one thing that pisses me off, and I hate watching Browns games before was because I hated having to see Baker in those fucking insurance commercials so much. And like you see them regardless, but when you're watching a Browns game, or watching, like the Browns network, with the games or whatever, like you see him nonstop throughout the game. And it's just like, oh my God, I would hate that to be my quarterback. Like the best thing he does is commercials. And now that's obviously what Jimmy's doing.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I couldn't believe what you don't think that you're going to be a starter for the 49ers anymore. So you're going to start doing freaking Subway commercials and shit. Like, and I hate Subway anyways.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a
big Porter subs fan.
Yeah,
myself.
I love Porter subs too. Dang, Breezy's also my daddy. Okay. I don't know what this chat's getting into. This isn't
Breezy
after dark. Awesome. This is freaking early morning here in Vegas.
Well, I'm going to say something. You said something too that I had to have you pause for a minute. You're like, yeah, Grant, that's why I ride you so hard. I'm like, hold on for a minute, Miriah.
Ride for you so hard.
Ride for you.
Dumbass. I'm married to a woman. Okay, I'm not riding Grant. That's for sure. That's the last person you guys got to worry about.
That's hilarious. Breezy pause. Yep.
Women don't need to be doing pauses. Like that's your guys. That's a guy's thing. That's a stupid guy's thing that you guys do. I hate that.
Why do we gotta
after everything?
Why do we got to be stupid though? I mean, we're pretty.
You guys aren't. The guys aren't stupid. It's a stupid thing that you guys do. Okay. Pause.
I don't cuss 49er minded.
I do the cussing here.
I don't cuss, brother.
I cuss for both.
If I ever meet you in person, I'll tell you the story why.
I'm the gangster here.
Oh, don't get it twisted now. I'm throwing hands if you disrespect, but I just don't cuss.
He's the calm one out of the two of us.
I'm a Scorpio. I get wild whenever I get heated. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm looking to see if there's any questions, but if you guys have any questions, you can throw them out there to us real quick.
Denise, good to see you. I thought you forgot about us. I didn't think you loved me anymore. Tell us why now. What? Why you don't cuss?
It's a long story, brother. I mean, if you want me to tell you, I can, but
tell him now. You already started it.
You got time, Miriah?
Yeah.
All right, so
I don't have a job. I got all the time in the world.
There you go. So 49er minded and breezy. Let me tell you why I don't cuss. So about 6 years ago, I used to work for this grocery store, and I was organizing the dairy cooler that has like the milk, sour cream, eggs, all that other stuff. And I used to drop F-bomb. And mind you, I was in the Navy, so when they say cuss like a sailor, that's what I did. I used to cuss all the time. Anyway, I was in the dairy cooler, and I was dropping all these F-bombs and this and that. And this guy, he was probably like maybe late 50s, early 60s, right? He comes up to me. He was like, "Hey, Teran, can I ask you something?" I was like, "Yeah, what's going on?" He was like, "Why do you always cuss?" He's like, "No," he goes, "Why do you cuss so much?" And I was like, "Honestly, I don't know why I cuss so much." He was like, "You're a grown man. You should have an answer for every question that's asked to you." He's like, "So to sit there and say, I don't know why I cuss is childish." I was like, okay. He was like, if your kid, he's like, that's something the child would say. He goes, if you go to your kids and you ask them why they did something and they said, I don't know, you expect that from them. Like, shouldn't expect that from a grown man. Yeah. I'm like, okay. So I was like, dang, he's checking me, but I can't be mad because he's true. And I was like, well, you know what? I think I just do it because everybody around me cusses. So I just kind of got used to cussing. He goes, so you're saying you're a follower, not a leader. He goes, you're saying you cuss because everybody else around you does it? He goes, that's ridiculous. He was like, I think you're better than that. I'm like, okay. And I was like, well, it goes, it's really hard to control. I go, it's just hard for me to control, my language and stuff like that. And he goes, well, he's like, if you ever step foot into a church, are you going to drop a bunch of F-bombs? I go, no. He goes, if our CEO from the company comes in right now and called you in for a meeting, would you be able to cuss? Would you cuss? I was like, no, I would talk, professionally to him. He goes, well, that means that you can control it. So don't say you can't control your mouth. And I'm just like, wow. So then I was like, man, like, and he told me this that day, and I was like, man, like, he's right. So I was just like, I was like, man, like, he's right. Like, I don't have any answer why I'm doing it. This and that. He was like, you can get your point across without cussing. He was just like, this and that. So anyway, I had my son in the back seat, and I was listening to some just hardcore rap, like some Juice and Messy Marv, right? That's for the Bay Area folks. Who knows who that is? So I was listening to Juice and Messy Marv, and then I was listening to it with my son in the back, And then my son, we got out of the car, go to Target, and he started repeating what I was listening to. And I smacked him in his mouth. I go, stop talking like that. And for those of you who believe in God, like I had this moment where I was just like, man, and God was like, why are you smacking your son when you're exposing him to this language? Like he's saying it because you're teaching him this stuff. And I'm just like, wow, like he's right. So then I don't know. After that, I just started like thinking about it and stuff. And I just kind of was like, you know what? Like, yeah. And then, so anyway, long story short, one day I just was like, you know what? I can get my point across and be respectful. And and I'm not saying cussing is disrespectful. That's not what I'm saying. It was just a personal thing for me to say, you know what? I'm going to stop cussing because I'm really just doing it because everybody else does it and because I'm around it and stuff like that. So that's the only reason why. So now that I've done that, I haven't cussed in like 6 years. It doesn't slip. Even when I get mad, I don't cuss. It is something that I feel better. I feel better about myself. Like I don't use it at all. I don't use any F-bombs. I don't say anything, even when I'm pissed. So yeah, that's just how it all started. So I think the dude kind of checked me a bit. And when he checked me, I was just like, man. And then so after that, I'll just say because I'm grown. Yeah, I mean that's true. But he wanted but it's true. But I'm just like, man. But when he told me that stuff, like I think he hit me with those questions because I think he hit me with those questions because I think he wanted me to give him some real answers instead of I'm a grown man. You know what I'm saying? Because he probably hears that all the time. So yeah, so that's my story, Breezy, and whoever asked that question. So yeah, that's the reason why I don't cuss anymore. So.
They asked us, Denise says, who do you think will draft with our first pick?
I don't think we'll make any more moves. We got that wide receiver.
Because we're broke.
Yeah, exactly, because we're broke. I appreciate you guys, everybody, for hearing my story. I know you guys didn't come here to hear. You guys came here to hear us and Grant talk football. But yeah, so that's why I don't cuss anymore. But anyway, first pick in the draft. I hope it's offensive line. I mean, Mike McGlinchey looking like a tight end right now. Dudes look super skinny, and he won't be. I mean, everybody's like, "Well, don't worry, he'll get the weight back." Yeah, but when? And at the same time, like, how strong is he going to be when the season comes? So we're banking on Justin School, McKivitz, Jalen Moore, whatever the case may be. Which I get it. There's the guys we drafted. We need to give them the respect and the opportunity to start. But I just don't think that's the best line that we can put behind a first-year starting quarterback who's our future. You know what I'm saying? That worries me. So I'm hoping. Everybody keeps saying pass rush. I don't think we address pass rush till like our second compensatory pick in the third round or maybe fourth round. I hope we go, and this is just my opinion, I hope we go offensive line, offensive line or safety and vice versa. So offensive line, strong safety in the third, and then I hope we go I'm going to go either wide receiver or edge with our second compensatory pick. So that's what I think. But offensive line would be my priority. What about you, Miriah?
I don't know. I'm not really into the draft this year, to be honest, because I'm tired of just getting my heart broken. Like I fall in love with all these players pre-draft, and then like we don't get any of them, and then they go to shitty teams, or and I just have to see their names always, playing for all these other teams.
Like you and I were in love with Michael Carter last year, the running back, and I was like, oh, that'd be a great pickup. And then he goes to the Jets or whatever, and we're like, oh man, it was funny. I was in love with him and Elijah Moore, and Jets got both of them. I'm like, oh my god, yeah.
But like knowing, I understand the whole, we need, to get some offensive line, and, especially if Mac doesn't come back, which will lead us into Swan Song's question. But I just, from what the 49ers do, I think they're going to go pass rush. But who really knows? Like, they've been so all over the place with everything the last couple seasons. Like, we think that they're doing this, they're doing that, and they just do whatever the hell.
Yeah, like this last class that we had in 2021 shocked me. Everybody who I didn't think they would get like Aaron Banks was a shocker because Kyle's used to them smaller offensive linemen who can move. Then he goes Aaron Banks. I'm like, what the heck? Then he trades up to get a running back. I'm just like what? Like those two moves just shocked me. Like I was just like, wow. Like, so yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who they're going to draft. I hope I'm just worried about that right side of the line. Like, and I get it. Like, even though Colton McKivitz is going into his third year, he's still going to be a first-year starter, if that makes sense. Just because simple fact, that's if he does start. So I think interior offensive line and right tackle were needed. I wouldn't even be mad if we went interior offensive line, strong safety, and then tackle with our first 3 picks. I'd be okay with that because at least I see that they're trying to address and bring some depth into that. I know that Justin School's coming back and all this other stuff. We re-signed that center that was on our practice squad all year. What's his name? That was a free agent. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but anyway, we got him to play center and offensive line. But yeah, so I don't know.
What do you think about this? He's a center, right? But if Mac does come back and we needed him to play another position, is he able to? Or because I know a lot of centers can play, like
offensive guard. Yeah. So I would love. I think he's a beast. I think he's a top 20 prospect. I just don't think we have any chance of getting this dude.
Yeah,
none. Like we would have to make some trades or something. Yeah. And we picked 61, like Grant said. Like we picked so late in the second round. What is it going to take? Because we have no first round pick next year. So I think that's a pipe dream for us. He's a great center, but I just don't think that we're going to have any chance of getting this dude.
We made it big. Jets gang finally is in our chat. We can finish our career now in podcasting. We got the Jets fans here. Mm-hmm. If you want to give us a couple first round picks, we'll work out something, Jets gang. You can send us your running back too. We can swap for that. You can get Carter over here.
Yeah, Border
Carter
Sports.
And a couple firsts.
Yeah, Border Sports. I don't think if the Jets want Deebo, you're going to have to give me 10, Elijah Moore, and 38 or something like that. You have to sweeten that deal. You have to give us a player because Elijah Moore on this team with Ayuk and Deebo and Juwan Jennings, you better watch out. And Kittle, you better watch out.
Swanson, I'm with you here. I would really like us to get a new, a young center in there to for him and Lance to grow, their careers together, for them both to be in there together. Obviously, if Mac does come back, we're not expecting him to last. I'm sure that'll be his last season. And, he's getting up there in age. I don't know, he wasn't that bad this past season, but he's going to be having to move around a lot more with Trey Lance in there. And, I just don't know how he's going to hold up for that. So I agree. I would like to get a younger center, if it's just to back, learn from Mac this season and then take over. But either way, we need to get somebody in there.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And then Breezy had asked, what edge do you want? There's a couple I like. The guy out of Penn State, Ebiketie, I don't know how to say his freaking name, but him. Yeah. I like the guy out of Michigan, not the one that they're saying is going to go first,
Aiden Hutchinson.
But not him. The other one I like. Obviously the guy out of Oregon. But as long as I just want some speed over there. If we could get a D Ford type edge guy over there, what we thought D Ford was going to be over there opposite Bosa, that's what I would like. Somebody fast up the edge.
Yeah, David Ajabo that's one you're talking about. I think from Michigan is that he tore his Achilles during that workout. Remember, so he's gonna slide. I don't know if he's there at 61 that you say, hey, let's bring. He's gonna miss pretty much the entire season.
Yeah,
but I don't know. And I'm in the minority with this. I just think and maybe I'm just and we talked about fans being optimistic. I think that Javon Kinlaw is going to be okay. I just have a feeling he's going to be cool. And if Javon Kinlaw is healthy, I'm telling you, I have no issues with this pass rush because I really feel like in year 2 under Kasarik, Amenahue and Ebelcom are going to be just fine. I just have a feeling they're going to be fine. Jordan Willis, I know he's just there for depth, but I just feel like with the rotation of those two guys, I think we're going to be fine. That's why. And then we brought back, Hurst. We brought back Maurice Hurst. So I just feel like the D-line is not the problem. I understand. I get it. We do need a speed rusher, but Ebelcom is that. And he said it himself. He was just learning the system. And he still finished with almost 6 sacks.
Yeah.
And we still got Kerry Hyder coming back. And who knows the system. So to me, edge is not that much of a priority. You can find you a speed rusher, and I know there's not Max Crosby's, that are out of there. But like, you can find you a gem, maybe late round 3, early round 4. I think I'm okay with that, because really at 61 or 93, are you going to find anybody who's going to come in and beat out Hyder or a Minihue or Ebocom? I don't think so.
Yeah. Jets Gang says Jets offer the Chiefs was 38, 35, 69. That's 50 points more than pick 10. You won't get no players. So what would you think about that? 38, 35, 69.
I would say 38. I'm sorry. I would say 35, 38, Elijah Moore, and I'm happy. Yeah, although now let's get this straight, Niner fam. I don't want Deebo traded. Okay, I want him on this team. We talked about it earlier in the show. I'm just not okay with him, and I know it's not my money. So let me stop these comments now. I just don't feel comfortable with Deebo getting $30 million a year off of 1 year of production. Because 1 year of elite production. I'll say that he was good his rookie year. All I'm saying is, people want to compare him to Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams. Well, the difference between those three, if they've done it consistently year in and year out, make numerous Pro Bowls and All Pro teams. Deebo's his first year, so I'm just not happy with paying somebody off of 1 year of elite production. So yeah, I want him on this team. But if somebody hits you up with some offers, you have to at least sit back and think about it, because at the end of the day, it's a business. And I mentioned this earlier when Grant was on. We need to be prepared to lose either Ayuk or Deebo. I think it's probably going to be Ayuk. I don't know. But if Deebo gets paid $25, $26 million, and if Ayuk comes out there in 2022 and just kills it, if he comes out there and 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns, he's going to be going into his 4th year. Then we're going to be talking about, he's going to have to get him a deal. I know he's a 5th-year option because of first-round pick. But what I'm saying is, him and Deebo, him and Trey Lance and Ayuk have a rapport. They've been working out the last 2 off seasons. Deebo's still going to be great. I just don't think his numbers will be as they were, because he won't be force-fed. He was force-fed last year. Like, here, I need you to go and win this game, because we had no quarterback that can make every throw. Now that we have a quarterback who distributes the ball evenly, that can attack every area of the field, I just don't see Deebo having to be counted on as much to win us the game. You know what I'm saying? So because of that reason, saying just give him a blank check, and let him give him whatever he wants, that's not smart business. That is not smart business. I'd say 24 million, 6 million in incentives, and if you make your 30 million, great. That means you hit every accolade. But I feel like $23 to $24 million is fair for Deebo, because I still think he's an elite talent. He's one of one. But with Ray McLeod on this team, I think he'll be more of the behind the line of scrimmage type running back / receiver. He was a 5-star running back in high school. He knows how to play the running back position. So I feel like he was brought in for special teams, of course, and to be that gadget guy, while Deebo focuses on wide receiver so he can stay healthier. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I'm not sure who either of these guys are, but I don't know if you know.
Who? No, I don't know. I'm still digging into my draft book. If you guys hit me up next week, I'll have some more answers for you guys. I've been focusing more on strong safeties and edges and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that, a lot, which is fine, and I think all of us probably did at one time. We got emotionally attached to players, and we learned along the way that, we can't be doing that, because these players leave and shit happens, I mean, even with buying jerseys, like, a lot of fans now won't buy jerseys, because it seems like every time you buy a jersey, you're spending a couple $100 on a jersey, and then the player's gone, like, before you know it. Like, I have jerseys hanging here that I've never even got to wear one time, because the player left, that next season after I got the freaking jersey, and there it sits.
Yep.
So,
and this is a true story. I had a friend of mine at work. He bought a DeForest Buckner's jersey 3 weeks before he was traded.
Oh wow.
Like, that's just crazy. Like, he was so pissed. Like, what? Because nobody thought that he would be traded. But hey, I love me some Nick Cross, Jamal. Him and Jaquan Brisker are my favorites right now. And I like the guy. I think I asked you about him on Twitter. The guy I like from Middle Tennessee State too.
Jets gang saying he don't think they're going to trade anymore. That's a player they need, which would make sense,
Yeah, it's true. But then too, you can team up Deebo with Corey Davis. I mean, I don't know.
I like Corey Davis too.
I like Corey Davis too, but I don't know. I think I like Elijah Moore better. He's younger, and I just think he's more explosive as far as the things he can do. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. But
yeah, I think that's everything. That we have. I appreciate everybody for showing up today. Again, props out to Grant for coming and hanging out with us. I have so much that I could just sit here and pick his brain about. Try to find out some inside info. But no, like he's just so knowledgeable, like I think, he's grown up in football, like his dad's been around football Grant's entire life. So, I mean, that's all the guy friggin' knows is football, So yeah, it's good. It's good to sit down and talk to him. Can't wait for everybody to come out to Vegas and finally get to meet all you guys. It's gonna be crazy. I think too for that Raiders game, that's what's gonna be even more crazy. I think the draft will be more mellow because we're all, have to be like in an event setting and shit, but people are planning some crazy shit for before and during and whatever that Raiders game. People talking about, oh, you're gonna be at the Raiders game. Okay, I'll meet you there and kick your ass. Like,
yeah,
oh boy.
Yeah.
Don't be coming to my city acting a fool, okay?
For real. I know
That's
that
not how we get down here.
I know that 49ers cast guy been talking crazy. He's supposed to be at the draft, so I'm gonna personally introduce myself.
Yeah, like that's crazy that guy lives here.
Yeah.
Not all us 49ers fans that live in Vegas are on the same page, okay?
Yeah.
We don't associate with that guy. He's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We appreciate you. Thanks for spending your Saturday morning, afternoon with us. It was good to see a lot of people that we haven't been able to see on the late night shows here.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you guys
tuning in.
Hit that like, subscribe, tell a friend. We appreciate everybody for being here. We'll talk to you guys soon. Everybody be safe out there.